I wake up some mornings, and something feels missing. Not a lost sock, not misplaced keys. It's a piece of me, a part of my own story, seemingly vanished. The bedroom sunlight is bright and cheerful, yet a small, quiet shadow lingers in my mind. It's like finding a favorite book with crucial pages torn out. The main story is there, but the details, the nuances are gone. I try to grasp these lost fragments, these phantom limbs of memory. They flicker, then dance away, just beyond my mental reach. What were they? What essential scenes from my life's play have silently drifted downstream? Then the voices come, not from ghosts, but from my children. They are grown now. They have families, worries, and lives of their own. Their words are not meant to wound, I know this, but they carry a certain heft, a weight of history. They speak of hardships from their youth, of specific moments where they felt alone or misunderstood, of times I was apparently absent or simply didn't see their struggle. They recall anxieties, childhood fears, and tears I have no memory of wiping. "Dad, don't you remember that?" they ask. Their voices are gentle yet edged with an old, faint hurt. "Don't you remember how tough that period was for us all?" Their questions float in the room, heavy and unanswered by me. I search my mind. I delve deep into my heart. I try to conjure the scenes they describe with such clarity, the ones painted with such vivid, sometimes painful detail on the canvas of their past. But for me, in those specific spots, the canvas remains stubbornly, frustratingly blank. I see their childhoods, of course I do, but it is through a different lens. A softer, more forgiving light seems to illuminate my recollections. I remember their laughter easily. I recall the joy, not so much the specific tears they now bring to my attention. I remember scraped knees I bandaged and kissed better, not these deeper emotional wounds they are now carefully unveiling. I truly don't, I have to admit, my voice barely a whisper. It feels like a confession. How can a parent forget such things? How can these moments, so significant to them, be missing from my own personal archive? A strange, unsettling disquiet washes over me. It's a feeling of having failed them. Not just in the past, during those forgotten instances, but now, in the present, by my inability to validate their remembered pain by sharing in its recollection. This forgetting, though entirely unintentional, feels like a quiet betrayal. It opens a small, uncomfortable chasm between us, a space I desperately yearn to close with shared understanding. My memories are different. They feel like an old photo album, filled with sun-drenched images. I remember holding their tiny, trusting hands. I can almost smell the sweet scent of baby powder. I recall the triumph of their first wobbly steps across the living room floor. The sound of gleeful shouts still echoes from a swing set I pushed higher and higher. There were bedtime stories, whispered secrets under cozy blankets, and the profound, comforting weight of a small, sleeping child nestled on my chest. These are the precious jewels I've stored. These are the moments that play on a continuous, gentle loop in the cinema of my mind. They felt like the entirety of my parenthood, warm and undeniably good. Was it truly all just good? My mind, it seems, wants to believe so. It quickly offers up more images. Happy holidays around a crowded table, birthdays celebrated with slightly lopsided homemade cakes, school plays where they stood nervously, mumbling their lines to a proud audience. The immense pride I felt watching them learn to ride a bicycle, wobbly but fiercely determined. These are the foundational bricks of my remembered parental past. The highlight reel, curated by time. Perhaps it is a natural defense mechanism, a way the human heart shields itself from the relentless grinding worry that is the true undercurrent of raising children. Or maybe it's simply what remains when life's sharper edges have been worn smooth. They speak of financial worries that must have plagued our home, of hushed, tense arguments they overheard from their beds, of times they felt unseen, unheard, small in a world of adult concerns. I strain my mind, trying to recall these shadows they describe. There were difficult times, naturally. Every family album has its share of less-than-perfect snapshots. But my memory appears to have polished these moments, softened their impact, perhaps. Or maybe I was so intensely focused on trying to shield them from the worst of our struggles, I inadvertently forgot to acknowledge the difficulties that still managed to seep through the cracks. Did I try too hard to present a flawless world, and in doing so, forget the imperfections myself? The hidden struggles of parenthood are indeed many. The endless, wearying, sleepless nights. The cold, quiet fear that grips you when a child is unwell. The constant, exhausting juggling act of balancing work demands with family needs. the persistent self-doubt that quietly gnaws at every parental decision. Did I do enough for them? Was I, as a parent, truly good enough? Perhaps these anxieties were so overwhelming, so all-consuming at the time, that my mind simply decided to file them away, stored them carefully in a deep, dark, rarely visited vault, choosing instead to showcase only the triumphs, the joys, and the boundless love that was always, always there, shining like a beacon. Now, life has given me a new role. I am a grandparent, and this role I find is different. It is sweeter in many ways, perhaps. It is certainly less fraught with the immense daily responsibility of shaping a human life from its very beginning. I watch my own children interact with their children. I see their familiar anxieties. I notice their profound exhaustion. I recognize that particular look in their eyes, the one that silently asks, "Am I doing this right? Am I enough?" It's a look I must have worn countless times myself, though the vivid memory of its constant presence has faded considerably now. It is like looking into a mirror that reflects a past self, a self I only vaguely, distantly recall. With my grandchildren, the intense pressure feels lifted. I am often here for the fun parts, the delightful storytelling sessions, the warm cuddles on the sofa, the occasional treat of ice cream before dinner. I don't always have to be the primary disciplinarian in the same way I once was. I don't have to make all the hard, life-altering choices about their schooling or establish strict curfews. My primary job now, it seems, is to love them unconditionally, to support their parents, to offer a safe, welcoming haven. It is a gentler, more leisurely path through the landscape of family. There is a lightness to it, a joyful ease that wasn't always present in the day-to-day trenches of raising my own children. This current joy, this easy, uncomplicated love I feel for my grandchildren, sometimes makes the contrast with my past even sharper. It prompts a quiet, reflective question. Did I truly enjoy my own children enough when they were small? Was I too caught up in the relentless doing of parenthood, the feeding, the clothing, the teaching, the correcting, to simply be present with them? It's a question that occasionally brings a small, sharp pang of regret. My children sometimes hint at this. "You seem so much more relaxed with them, Dad," one might say, a subtle touch of wistfulness coloring their tone. And they are absolutely right. The weight of the world simply felt heavier back then. Or perhaps I carried it with less grace. The grandparent's heart has the distinct advantage of hindsight. It has witnessed the unfolding arc of a life already lived, at least in part. It knows from experience that most childhood worries eventually fade into insignificance. It understands that scraped knees inevitably heal. It has seen time and again that love, in its many resilient forms, truly endures. This broader, more philosophical perspective was much harder to grasp when I was in the thick of raising my own. Back then, every decision felt monumental. Every perceived mistake loomed like a potential catastrophe. Now, thankfully, I can see the bigger picture more clearly. The intricate family tapestry, woven with both bright and darker threads, all essential to the beauty of the final design. The conversations with my children continue. They are not always easy conversations. Old hurts, long submerged, sometimes surface unexpectedly, like forgotten driftwood washed onto a familiar shore. But the important thing is, we talk. That, I believe, is the key. I try to listen more attentively now. I make a conscious effort to understand their memories, their perspectives, even if I cannot fully share the exact recollections they hold. I explain, as best I can, that my forgetting is not a denial of their past experiences. It is perhaps just a strange, protective working of a parent's fallible heart, a heart that was always trying to remember the best, or was simply overwhelmed by the sheer, unending volume of it all. "We know you loved us, Dad," one of them says softly, one quiet evening. "Those words are a soothing balm to my soul. We always knew you did your best with what you had. It's just, well, there were things you didn't always see." And that, I know, is the undeniable truth. No parent, no matter how diligent or loving, sees everything. We are, after all, imperfect human beings. We are tasked with navigating an incredibly challenging, often impossible job, usually with no clear instruction manual. We inevitably make mistakes. We miss important cues. We get tired. We become overwhelmed by the demands. We are simply human, flawed, and constantly trying. Love is the compass, but the journey is often through uncharted, stormy waters. Love, I am coming to understand more deeply, is not about achieving perfect, synchronized recall of every shared moment. It's not about possessing a shared identical memory of every single event, big or small. It is about the unwavering feeling that underpins everything. The steadfast commitment, the constant, deep-seated desire for their happiness and well-being, even if my methods for achieving that were sometimes clumsy, sometimes misguided, or sometimes went entirely unseen by them. Love is also about finding the courage to face these differing recollections now, in the present, to acknowledge their truth, their reality, even if it doesn't perfectly align with my own remembered narrative. This, too, is a profound act of love, and so, together, we find a new path forward, one built on a foundation of greater honesty and mutual acceptance. My personal memory may indeed be selective, a tapestry woven with perhaps more light than shadow, more joy than sorrow. Their memories may hold the sharper edges, the overlooked pains, the moments of feeling small, but somewhere in the space between our different stories, there is a shared truth we can all hold on to, a truth that gently whispers that parenthood is and always will be a journey of imperfect, messy, beautiful love. And that love, even with its forgotten moments and unintentional missteps, is ultimately strong enough to bridge any gap, strong enough to heal, strong enough to last.